blue with wrenches.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is Matt, aka Thanatos, and I am joined with my good friend JD today. And we are going to be having some fun. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of love, maybe a little hate for our choices, but I'm pretty excited for this. How you feeling, JD? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Kind of excited about this. Kind of debating in my head what's going on all day. So, hey, Wingnut. Hey, boys who had 7. White Whale. Slab Dragon himself, Mr. TJ Watson. We've got Comic Head 84, and of course, Mr. Tony Sanders. That's who I see so far.
Mr. Tony Sanders. Thank you guys so much for joining us. The boy who had 7. I got my Gryffindor varsity jacket on in your honor today because I don't know if you guys were there for, but he sent me an amazing Christmas present, so that was awesome. So
I did see.
This jacket is for you. What are you drinking tonight, JD?
I'm drinking Redbreast Irish whiskey, single pot still. So
you've been talking it up. I'm gonna have to try it.
There you go.
I'm busting open a new bottle of Axe in the Oak.
Nice. That's a local distillery?
It is. It's a pretty cool place. It's called the Ivy Wild, and it's like an old abandoned school that they turned into. They have Axe in the Oak. They have Bristol Brewery, which is a beer brewery, and then they have like some restaurants and stuff in the school as well. It's really, really cool. It's like, I don't know, they have all these murals drawn by kids and stuff.
Nice.
But,
sounds good.
Yeah, I've been addicted to their stuff. I really like every single one of their bottles when it focuses.
Oh, nice. Signed and numbered.
So it has like
a batch.
They're bottle numbered, and then they have a tunes section, which is whatever music was playing when they were bottling these. And this one is the Deftones.
Oh, okay. Not bad. We're talking whiskey before we talk Avengers, but there is no war with alcohol. There is just 2 people drinking whiskey.
Just some appreciation for a fine glass. Deathly Hallows Cup. Cheers. All right. So, as we kind of discussed, as we were leading up to this Avengers versus the Justice League, JD actually mentioned that, on one of my last videos, I talked about if you have an idea and you want to collaborate, that's my favorite. Like, that's the best part of YouTube, in my opinion. So when JD approached me and asked and said that it would be a great idea to do this Avengers versus Justice League, and we kind of fleshed it out. And I mean, you could literally go on YouTube and probably look up Avengers versus Justice League, and you will find a lot of videos, and they are all going to be the Hulk versus Superman, Batman versus Moon Knight. I don't think Moon Knight was an Avenger, but
he was one.
You're just going to see a lot of verses. Who can beat who. Well, is it in the DC universe? Like, what's canon? And that gets kind of crazy. So JD and I kind of wanted to change it up. And JD came up with some amazing categories, which you are more than welcome to go over if you'd like.
Sure. Pretty much how this started was on that video when he opened up his Brave and Bold 28. He said he started talking smack about how good the Justice League was, and I said, "Wait a second here," and I said, "Blasphemy," and then that's how this came about. So we called the debate, and you guys are going to be the jury out there. But the categories we're going to go over is team leader, your powerhouse, your tactical, your tech/science, your magic, and then 4 wild cards. And then we're going to have a few reserves in there we'll throw in there. A lot of this is dependent in building a team on the Avengers. I probably have a little bit more of a stable of characters than he did, so I did have to limit myself to more than 1 or 2 appearances. So a big name is not going to be there, and I also restricted it to nothing after for me is nothing after the Copper Age started. So I'm not going to do any mostly West Coast Avengers only. No New Avengers, no Mighty Avengers, no Uncanny Avengers, um, no Young Avengers, none of that stuff. So you won't be seeing Two Gun Kid. You won't be seeing Moon Knight. Doctor Strange cannot be considered. There's a lot of that like that. And as I go along and give you my team for each category, someone's going to say, "What? You didn't choose this guy?" And then I will try to respond to everybody. So,
yeah, I think I think I definitely had it a little easier choosing my characters. The Justice, like typically DC keeps a lot of their groups separated. There are people that kind of come into the scene. Daniel Marshall asked if it was talking comics or movies. This is definitely comics.
yeah.
The movies do not apply in this situation.
I could just say Martha and win that category. So.
Martha, and he wins. Game over. Martha is the Justice League. And so when we were discussing this isn't just, and we're talking about all potential threats. Which team would you build or would you want to defend the Earth from your most common criminal to your, Omega universal level threats? So I kind of tiered it into, there's numerous ways to tier villains in DC and Marvel. But we kind of just made it easy with like low, mid, and high tier characters. So like your low would be the Riddler, the guys who don't really affect anything outside of a city, perhaps.
Taskmaster would be definitely one for the Avengers. I'll probably have to throw Norman Osborn as the high end of the low tier, but Norman Osborn.
See that, and for me, it would probably be like someone like Deathstroke would still probably be a low tier villain. Someone who could personally attack you, and obviously inflict some serious damage to you personally, but not necessarily a nation, a country. And then you have your mid-tier villains, who I think I don't remember who we discussed.
I would throw Doctor Doom as a mid-tier villain. I just said in this one because Doom is a big-time villain, but he pretty much kept it to how Doctor Doom was. I would definitely say he would be a mid-tier villain for the Avengers. That would be an example of one, not the only one, but the mid-tier one.
For DC, I would say guys like Sinestro, Vandal Savage would be a good one. Lex Luthor, guys who could definitely cause damage on more of a global scale. They're much more powerful. And then you have your high tier guys, which is the easiest. Those seem to be fairly common, or at least they show up a lot more than we think.
Your Thanos, Galactus. I'm going to throw the Skrulls in there as a whole, using some of the wars, and a shout out to Reggie and one of his new favorite characters, the Korvac. Would be the Korvac saga itself was a big time arc, probably one of the best arcs of the Jim Shooter era for the Avengers. So.
Yeah, Tony Sanders says Mongol, which is totally accurate. I would throw guys like, I don't know, would General Zod, you think, be a mid tier or a high tier? I mean, he is a Kryptonian.
General, I'll let the DC guys answer it there, but one guy took care of him, right?
That is kind of true.
Yeah.
Guys like Darkseid would probably be the highest kind of tier for DC. The Anti-Monitor. I would, if there was a Kryptonian that would be in that high Omega threat level, you could probably throw Superboy Prime in there from Crisis on Infinite Earths. He is probably the scariest villain, in my opinion. He terrifies me.
Wignup brings up Magneto, and that was one of those where during the John Byrne era of the Avengers, as well as the early part of the Avengers, but Magneto comes back, and that's actually when you find out who his kids are in the Avengers. That's a good point. That would be a mid-tier for sure, because it affected two specific Avengers themselves, but it was really cool.
So those are the threats that we want each of our teams to be able to address in a timely fashion, in a manner that doesn't cause catastrophic damage to potential, like, I don't know, everyone. We're not going to try to destroy cities and stuff.
I'll snap my fingers or something.
Yeah. Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, that's a high tier.
Even with just the Cosmic Cube, he was pretty crazy.
Yeah. But that's kind of our intention, is to what team would you want if any of those situations happened on our planet Earth? Now, he is here to back and choose a team for Marvel with the Avengers, and I will be doing the Justice League.
Yeah. So one of the things as well is that at the end of this, if you guys in the chat so choose, we could mix and match. Take a tank from one and a magician from another.
Ooh, I like that. We can make our perfect team. I like this. And then when this show is over, if you were watching the replay, I would love to know your thoughts on your perfect team, whether it's Avengers or Justice League. Heck, you can do X-Men, whatever your perfect team is. In the comments below, give us some love, give us some hate, and choose your own team. I would love to see what your guys' opinion is on your favorite superhero team. Yeah.
So, well, I guess we'll start. What category you want to go with first? You want to do it random, or you want to choose a category to throw out first? Well, might as well. He's got his Brave and Bold. I just brought up this there. Let's just show the Avengers one while we're out there.
I love that cover. That is actually one book that I have. Ooh, hold on real quick. Wingnut says, what level are you making the Joker? Which is super hard. But honestly, he is typically isolated to Gotham. He is a Batman villain through and through. I would still put him in the low tier because he doesn't really, like, his entire purpose is Batman. Like, that's his thing. He's not out trying to I mean, obviously there are some storylines where Injustice, where he kills Lois Lane, stuff like that. But for the most part, low tier, Batman can take care of him. Batman has no superpowers.
Yeah, a lot of people brought up Doom being one of the high villains, and it was one of those tough things where I was debating on. I went with the highest end on each group. I chose Norman Osborn when I could easily, and the Taskmaster would be the lower end of there. But you have Red Wolf. But the reason why Doctor Doom to me is in the mid tier, not the high, is that there's so many other high categories, especially with the Avengers. But in addition to that, Doctor Doom with the Avengers, before Secret War, was pretty much handled in a way. He kept it pretty much just to Earth at that point. Secret War Battle World, Doctor Doom, obviously that's a whole nother level. I still say that's the arc that Doctor Doom, outside of the Fantastic Four, kind of everybody just started reading how good Doom was.
Yeah, he is quite the villain. Ooh, yeah, Doom versus Galactus puts it into perspective. This is very true. Any of these high tier characters could probably kill any of these mid tier villains or heroes one-on-one easily.
Right.
Like, that is why you need a team that effectively takes out those high tier characters.
Very cool, Wingnut. Yeah, I love. It was debating in here. I mean, literally, I wrote in Matt Thanatos and I were talking earlier. Like, this was a lot harder than it sounds. I mean, even not to knock Tony Sanders, even to choose a leader. I mean, we should probably start with later. I actually had a debate on my leader. So,
well, let's hear it. Let's
my leader. Not reserved. My leader, I did go with Tony's choice, and I did do Cap as my leader. He's also he's not the first leader. I almost went with the first leader, which was Wasp, but I went with Captain America, and the reason why is because he assembles the team that right after after the first team assembles, the second tier guys, he assembles a team of all villains. One-time villains to become Avengers after that. So it's Cap and 3 characters who used to be villains in the comics he takes on, and then he maintains the leadership of the Avengers the longest time. So Captain America would be my team leader.
That is not a bad choice. It's probably, I mean, as I didn't even know the Wasp was the leader of the Avengers at any given point. But he is definitely, and I think his power would of just like being able to motivate a team and inspire the people around him. When I think of him in like a situation like World of Warcraft, where he would be a warrior who could like, battle cry and get everybody pumped up and ready to battle. Like that's how I feel Captain America is.
Cool. Yeah.
We have a legend in the house.
The great legends here, huh?
Is here. What's going on, man? We're about to talk some Justice League and Avengers. Tony Trombetta says, where would you put Raj Al Ghul in the League of Assassins? Oh, and the League of Assassins. Well, as the leader of the League of Assassins, Ra's al Ghul, I believe, would be a mid-tier villain because he can cause damage on a global scale. He's very capable of causing more than just hurting a little city. He can definitely do damage elsewhere. My leader, I know people are probably gonna like poo-poo on this, but I do think this is the right decision on the proper leader of the Justice League. And my vote, and it's not because I'm a fanboy,
Hal?
is John Stewart.
Oh, good call. John Stewart.
Green Lantern, John Stewart is my Justice League leader. Reason being, even actually in the most recent Justice League, they go out and find John Stewart because of his strategic mind. He is a prior Marine, understands rank. He's been the leader of the Green Lantern Corps for quite the run now. A long-time member of the Justice League in both the TV show and the comics. But he is, I know people would probably look at someone more like Batman and stuff as a leader, but John Stewart, in my mind, one, the benefit of having a Green Lantern would be the fact that if it's an intergalactic threat, the Green Lantern ring, one, gives him all the knowledge of the universe that the Guardians of the Universe have. It also provides the ability to speak to alien races. So any kind of outside threat coming from a different planet, from anything like that, he is able to potentially negotiate prior to action. And then his ability to lead the Green Lantern Corps gives him the experience probably required to get all of these different power sets, all of these different people together to work as a cohesive unit with his prior military experience. So John Stewart is the only logical choice in my mind as the leader of the Justice League.
That's a good choice. I mean, I know very limited to what I know about John Stewart. When I first saw you bring out the Green Lantern, I wasn't going to think it would be Hal Jordan. I'm like, but John Stewart does make sense. Now, the funny thing is everybody's like, well, Cap is a military leader. Cap was a private who became a captain when he got serum, and his tactical and everything else, from a bottle, as Tony put it in the movie. But the reason why Wasp was there is not only did she form it, but Wasp led the team before him and after him, and she balanced an abusive husband and dealing with the rivalry between the two characters who I'm going to mention later on as part of my I guess we called them the reserves.
So
yeah.
Pretty much.
When do you want to do reserves? After we do the initial, then do reserves, or do like leader and then reserve leader?
I figured. Well, I guess we could do it at each level.
Yeah. So my reserve leader is Wasp. Wasp, and there are other leaders, but if you ever want to, if you know the comics, Wasp forms the Avengers. She is the one who got them to first of all get together, and then after Cap, there's a storyline where Cap eventually leaves, and she takes them over again, and she pretty much runs it through not only one major arc in the Avengers first 125 issues because there, but she goes all the way to the 180 issues, almost all the way up to 200, where she is a integral part. Now she's not the whole time. I mean, all right, she does get pretty much screwed on her wedding, no pun intended, by her husband. And Hank Pym was, let's be honest, if you know the storyline, he has a multiple personality disorder, so he's pretty crazy right there. And this is before the days of whatever medication people are on now for that. So Wasp would be, I know I was going to put up which Wasp cover I was going to show. I'm going to leave it up here. I think the Wasp, I'm going to do it here because she's still the leader of here. And you could see here on Avengers #2, she says, Giant Man, Thor, look out. That's not the Hulk, it's the Phantom. And in the Avengers storyline, she's often the one who brings everybody together. So, and she's the leader. She's probably not the most tactical, but she was probably the most strategic of all of them. More strategic than Cap. No offense, but Cap was definitely the leader of that group.
That's a great choice. I mean, I don't know much about the Wasp other than what I saw in the movie, so that was really insightful. So the whole point, I think, of doing this reserves would be the fact that yes, you have one A team, you have your team that's the go-to, but superheroes have to sleep. And
yes,
superheroes, they can't just be on call 24/7. They can be, but if something is happening somewhere else and other things happen elsewhere, you need to have a reserve team that can step up to take care of other situations. So my reserve team was kind of tough. I kind of took people that I thought would have honestly worked out in the A team, and they didn't fit. So for my leader, it's going to be Nightwing. I chose Nightwing.
Dick Grayson, Nightwing.
Dick Grayson, Nightwing.
Okay.
I think that I'm not going to go too much into the reserve teams, but I think as a leader, he's obviously had experience in leadership with the Teen Titans, and some experience in the Justice League. So these guys kind of, I don't know, was our reserve team supposed to be most like main, like original Justice League members and stuff? Or
now, see, like, I guess the original team, because I have two original. Cap is not an original. I mean, he's 4 issues in, but I think I just chose the reserve team, which would be, if it wasn't for this guy, this one would be the leader. If it wasn't for this would be the tank. With exception of Tech and Science, I put some in. Remember, we've got 4 reserves too to go on our A team, and those reserves, we don't need backup reserves, but our 4 reserve
the wild
players. Yeah, our 4 wild cards. We should say some of them would be on an A team ahead of them in some of these categories. So
I actually didn't label my reserves. I kind of just wrote down a team that I thought would fit in the reserves. So out of looking at them, I think that Nightwing would fit the best as a leader, but that can obviously be discussed later. Cool. So,
all right, you want to lead off this time with whatever category you want to go with?
Well, I think.
We got to check the chat for a minute here. Boy who had 7. I like how he puts in the leader of the Titans. Any information you guys give me on the DC stuff is great. I know most of my DC revolves around Swamp Thing, Alan Moore, and various issues here and there. So mostly the horror stuff. So
I got issues. Join the chat.
Oh, hey.
Work. Thank you so much for jumping in and listening.
Be safe.
Yeah, please be safe.
Yeah.
I know. I understand that struggle of driving and listening at the same time, and it's definitely hard because you want to chime in and add your input, but focus on the road.
Backseat driver 5280.
And I saw that the Great Legend shared our video, so thank you so much, Great Legend.
Oh, thanks
for doing that. And I figure I've got like a little list here.
You got something burning behind you?
I got because I'm sick. I have a
Oh,
little essential oils diffuser.
well, that's
Um,
cool.
I'm bringing the Colorado here with me. It's it's some essential oils to clear the sinuses. But really, all I need is whiskey. So
Thank you, Popcom, for helping me out. Okay. He was like, yeah, if you do see anything come up behind us, let us know.
yeah, if anyone comes walking up behind us, please, you know, yeah, definitely inform us. Um, I'm gonna go into I I feel like we gotta go big. You know, I gotta
Well,
throw
we're going
gotta
there.
go throw my powerhouse out there because
Okay.
he is the powerhouse of all of comics. And you knew
Okay. Okay. Okay.
you knew that it's just a reprint, guys. Don't worry, as you can see by the 50 cent. My powerhouse in my Justice League team is Superman. Let's be real here. If you want someone in your team fighting against any level threat, Superman is it. He has the like the hearing, the power, the speed, like overall, he is so useful. Just if you just had even if you took away his super strength and just had his general situational awareness, Superman would be on this team no matter what. Because he can go toe to toe with Darkseid, he can go toe to toe with Lobo, any villain that wants to come at the planet Earth. A lot of villains wait until he's no longer in the picture before they plan anything because they know that he is the biggest threat on the Justice League.
Okay. Um. Obviously, I know that he is Superman. He is there. My tank, I do have to say, there's people that are going to say, pull out this guy, pull out that guy. I have to make him Avengers, and I had to keep it during a time. And while my son's favorite thing is his Superman toy, he has 4 of them, so we don't lose them. One he sleeps with, one in the car, one at daycare, and one downstairs. Um, he's a god. Okay. Superman was a godlike character. This is a god right here. And Thor can match muscle for muscle. He does have his hammer, Mjolnir, which is not the source of his power. We're talking about a god of thunder, who, movies aside, he has taken on Thanos by himself. He has taken on Galactus by himself on many arcs. His father is even more powerful than he is, but was never a Avenger. But eventually, Thor is worthy, as Superman is. As both these people have good character, both these people are super strong. Both of them have awesome red capes. Both of them are iconic in their way, and I would say that this is pretty much a toss-up, except for one thing and one thing only: kryptonite.
Yeah,
Thor's only kryptonite was Jane Foster. He had 2, Lois and kryptonite itself. I mean, obviously, if Thor lost Mjolnir, he was hindered by that and the whole Eric Masterson thing in there, but that was not an Avengers storyline. That's a later on Thor storyline. If I just go with the Avengers and who you'd want to defend yourself as your muscle, you want somebody without the weakness. This is as we said, this is a debate. So
I agree, and I feel like the positives for Superman are the fact that I feel like kryptonite is a fairly like it's obviously obvious to us as fans who read books and people like Lex Luthor who have studied Superman for a very long period of time. But I feel like the threat of kryptonite is definitely exaggerated in the sense that it's not very common. Like no one's just like finding kryptonite. You don't see those low to mid tier characters finding kryptonite on a daily basis to destroy Superman. But I do agree that is definitely a weakness. But and also the Lois Lane and maybe Martha, like
well, I have Jane Foster. It's the same thing.
I feel like every superhero's got got their crux, you know, like
Yeah, the
everybody
women. And we
everybody
love the women. Don't get us wrong. And especially women in chat, we love you. But
they get all of our superheroes in trouble, and
yeah,
like, there's always going to be a weakness. Um, but I do think that, and I love Thor. Like he's fantastic. I always had a question: how does like someone like Storm? How can she fly all the time? And Thor is the god of thunder, but without his hammer, he can't fly. Like that makes no
well,
sense.
he can in the comics. He evolves and kind of in the comics. When comics were originally written for him, he was just a normal. It was Dr. Don Blake, and he picked up the hammer and became the god of thunder, Thor from the Norse mythology. As Thor was going on, Thor could fly without the hammer. But Thor's strength isn't in the hammer. It just is a way for it harnesses his guardian power for him. When he does it on his own, he gets into a little bit more like his kryptonite. If anything, his weakness is he relies on his tool more than he should. There's no other way around it. He relies on Mjolnir a lot more than he should. And I kind of threw that in there a little bit. But I will say this: there's one thing in his Superman defense, that I always bring up when everybody says there, and never say Superman can wield Mjolnir. He actually did. In Avengers vs. Justice League 4, Superman is beaten and battered, and he's holding Cap's shield with Mjolnir right there because everybody else says let the Kryptonian do it, and it was really cool. That's probably the best. They actually have a threat together, and it's a really cool cover. George Perez did it, I believe. Now, I will say one more thing. There is no Death of Thor comic ever. There aren't 5 million Death of Thor comics. Thor doesn't die in the comics. He's of all the people that have been killed, I mean, Odin kind of crushes him a bunch of times. That's his own dad. His brother tries to defeat him, but there is no real death. But there is no winner and losers, and that's 100% correct. We're just saying right now there's no vote on. You guys are going to be the jury at the end of it. What we think the team that you would want to defend your Earth. If I'm going to have a team defending the Earth, and I'm not saying the Defenders because that would have been a good argument too. That's where I could have had Hulk, but I can't have Hulk. I'm sorry, he was in one issue as an Avenger until Amadeus Cho. So, if I'm going to do one person to defend him, I want him not to have that weakness.
Yeah,
where my tank goes down.
I do. Also, I do think that Superman as a powerhouse, like I'm a big in a book series called The Sword of Truth by Terry Goodkind. There is a quote that I've always really liked where this king, he's a wizard, and his soldiers always say like, "You're the magic against magic, and we're the steel against steel." So no matter, in my mind, all of these characters are going to have their weaknesses, but the benefit of having a team is that they all have their strengths and they all defend each other from certain things. So we do have a magic category a little later. Superman obviously has a weakness against magic, but we also have things that can eliminate those threats and hopefully make each other stronger and protect each other from those threats that people know are their weakness. Obviously, Kryptonite's a little strange because you can't really like, oh no.
Yeah, it was one of those things about Kryptonite I've never really understood. It's fragments of his planet that make him but kill him, and I don't know why. Is it radiated in a way? I don't know. I just never understood it.
It's the Kryptonite radiation, and there's actually been some pretty cool, like even Green Lantern. It's actually DC Comics Presents number 26, where it wasn't even Hal Jordan. It was like a guy who was posing as Hal Jordan, had a Green Lantern ring, and he created Kryptonite out of the willpower. And that affected him. I think that's no longer canon. That they kind of were like, that wasn't actually Green Lantern.
So the yellow sun enhances his powers, which we get.
Yes.
Was one of my other things about the tank is that I guess if we're on Earth, we have the yellow sun. So
yes, we have a young sun. The yellow sun is the yellow radiation gives him power versus the sun from Krypton was a red sun, so it was an older sun.
Right.
Doesn't give him the same radiation. Like,
very cool.
Opposite with their like rival planet was the Daxamites, and the Daxamites get power from a red sun, not a yellow sun. So I mean, there's a lot of radiation going on with kryptonite or Kryptonian, sorry. But kryptonite does happen to be the weakness.
You know, one thing I do have to say, I decorated my son's room with Marvel and DC so he can make a decision for himself.
Nice.
As long as he likes comics or Star Wars, and both in Star Wars as well, he'll be just fine. And hockey. So let's warp them young. Okay. We got to do your backup tanks. Or what do we call them? Powerhouses. Because tank is a weird word because that means that they take all the punishment.
Let's see. Of my backups, who would... I've got a few that could probably cover the tank, or the powerhouse. I am going to say... Dang, this is tough. You go first.
Okay. Well, you can't have one god without the other. Hercules.
Oh, Hercules.
Doesn't need the hammer. He's there. He was an Avenger for quite a long time, actually, and he starts off very early in the Avengers. Actually, he outside of Cap's foray into having the criminals join the Avengers, they needed a tank, and Thor wouldn't do it because he had to go take care of things, and Hercules joined. Hercules is, if not, he is the strongest man. I'm not going to say master of the universe like He-Man, but Hercules is considered in the Marvel 616 as the strongest, and that's what he is. There isn't anything more you're going to get with him other than brute strength. You don't have a lightning hammer or anything else. He is just Hercules, and that's about... I went with God and God for my tanks because they don't die.
You know what? You pick a god, I'll pick a god. I don't have one of his comics up. And the great legend is saying Shazam. Hold your horses.
I love my Shazam.
It's not Shazam. I'm going with Mr. Miracle. I don't know if you've read anything about Mr. Miracle. He is a new god. He's immortal. He's got genius level intellect, knowledgeable about everything in the universe. Superhuman strength, all the good stuff, but he also possesses, he is like the personification, almost the embodiment of the anti-life equation, which in the DC universe might as well be the Infinity Gauntlet. He can dominate the will of any sentient life. Like, he is the biggest powerhouse. I would have put him in my A-team. He is definitely an A-team type guy because if he was a villain, he'd be in that high class tier. He's
very cool.
He's very impressive.
That's one of those things with doing your reserve as your backup tank, so to speak, is I had to take the attribute of Thor I needed the most, which was the godlike immortality and strength, and I kind of didn't have a choice, but I do want to say that I hope everybody in the chat is realizing that we are only choosing people that are members of Justice League and Avengers. So I apologize, there is no Hulk, but Hulk is only in Avengers #1. He leaves in 2, and he doesn't come back until the much later on, approximately 35 years later, for a brief moment. I mean, he is in a lot of Avengers comics, but he's mostly a villain or somebody who they go up against. I don't want to say villain because Avengers versus Defenders is its own category and own arc. And sometimes the Avengers did ask Hulk to help them out, but Hulk just doesn't play well with others. So that's good. I like how we did our powerhouses. That was good.
All right, you're up.
How was everybody going? John's Comics with Kids. I did not want to disqualify Hulk. It would be an easy choice, but he's only in the first one. I kind of wanted to keep it somebody who was around the Avengers, because then I could grab, who's the best Western guy, and I got the Two Gun Kid, So anyway, let's go tactical. The tactical guy is the guy who your fighter um, I don't know. How do you want your tactical is the one who can get everybody together. This guy could have been a leader
Could have
because
been
he is. He could have been my tech guy, but he's probably not the techiest guy, but he has the best tech. Who's the best technician? And this might shock people. Well, Tony Sanders figured it out. T'Challa. T'Challa himself, the Black Panther.
when you're the king of your own country and have
Yeah.
all that moolah.
The origin of Black Panther in the Fantastic Four doesn't do the justice as the Black Panther comics themselves do, as well as the Avengers. Black Panther was a key Avenger for most of me reading the Avengers. Black Panther was one of the main guys. And as far as tactical goes, he is not only there, but Thor relied on him for advice on how to fight. And you're talking about a god asking him. Funny thing is, when the Taskmaster had to fight the Black Panther, he couldn't keep up with him. And Taskmaster is the only one that he said, he goes, I just can't keep up with that guy. That he didn't say Quicksilver, he said that guy. So it's very cool. Actually, very cool. And I had to throw it out there as T'Challa would be my most tactical, my number one tactical person.
I would 100% agree with your choice. But I think the DC universe has an answer, and you knew this was coming when we even chose the category.
He was there.
Batman all day. I am not a Batman fan, but when it comes to tacticians, Batman is the greatest in the DC universe.
I do love that cover. Neil Adams, right?
It is Neil Adams
cover. It is Neil Adams, yeah.
Batman, bar none. One, I do have some things against Batman. Like in Crisis on Infinite Earths, there's a scene where like everybody's out in space fighting and stuff, and Batman and Robin and stuff are on Earth, and they're like, "What can we do?" And he's like, "We can give them hope and show support," which isn't exactly what you want. But if Batman has time to prepare for any type of scenario, he is a master tactician. Not only is he trained in almost every martial art, so he's probably one of the best hand-to-hand fighters in the DC universe. He is rich, which is very important to have resources enough to support your surrounding cast, and able to create technologies that are able to benefit the team. He's got that crazy discipline. The fear factor, like being able to interrogate people, which is a tactic. Interrogation is definitely a tactic. I would put Batman probably, I would say, without superpowers, he is as good as you can get. Like if you gave Batman superpowers, he would wreck everybody. McFarlane. Sorry, that's not new.
Yeah, it is a McFarlane cover. I was going to say that looks like the McFarlane cover. That almost like the Daredevil homage kind of thing.
About Tech 227.
Right. That's Neil Adams for sure. Which, by the way, I can't wait to ask him questions on that. Money. He's rich in Gotham. So he's Gotham rich. He's not T'Challa rich.
Yeah,
you're talking vibranium, adamantium, whatever you want to call it. This man's a king. Yes, and he is T'Challa. One other thing, I completely agree with you on Batman as being an absolutely great martial artist and everything else. I did not choose based on. It was a very tough choice because my number two is not probably as nowhere near as but as far as tactical, who knows how to get it done, my reserve guy is probably not one of the most. He does a lot more than what the movies say, but I could care less about the movies when I get into this. The one thing I wanted to bring up, let me make sure I have the book here handy. It might be under here. That's the best part about doing this, right? Oh, there it is. When you get into the tactical part, somebody who's a master technician who's around for a lot of them, and somebody who knows how to fight, who's a master assassin, and has 3 different personas in the Marvel universe, and is on this team. Hawkeye. And I'm going to tell you why he's the best technical, hands down. He is, yes, great with a bow and arrow, i.e., Green Arrow. He's very good with that. He is also the first Colossus. He also gets to be really big. He takes some Pym Tech and becomes the first Colossus. In addition to that, he's also Ronin later on. So when you want to talk about a character that can be 3 different characters and 3 different tactical natures, he can fight big as Goliath, fight from a distance as Clint the Hawkeye, or his other persona, Ronin, which is just an amazing assassin. So he is my backup reserve tactician.
That's also a good choice. I actually think I screwed up. I feel like now that I'm looking at my reserve team, Nightwing or Mr. Miracle probably should have been my strategist.
Tactical, right? Are we doing tactical?
With their tactical abilities. So with my remaining characters, I'm going to go with Hawkman. I have one Hawkman comic, and unfortunately, it's Hawkman number 4, and it's over there, and I'm not going to get it. But Hawkman...
that's first Zatanna, isn't it?
That is the first Zatanna. I was going to use Plastic Man as well, but I feel like the amount of training and experience that Hawkman has over lifetimes would make him... oh, dang it, Oliver Queen. What was I doing? Oh, John's Comics with Kids just wrecked my world. I completely forgot about Oliver Queen. But I'm going to stick with it. It's Hawkman.
Okay. I do a White Whale. Very much good point. Wolverine was one. Yes, he was an Avenger. For that brief moment, he was an Avenger. But it was post. He was a mighty. He was an uncanny Avenger. I kind of had to stop it at some point because if that, I would have had the 2-Gun Kid. I would have had Moon Knight. There's so many of those guys that were all brief moments in Avengers. So I did stick it to you had to be either during the Avengers original run title, or you had to be what happened to the East Coast Avengers after the West Coast down. By the way, not for nothing, Hawkeye also was a leader as well, and the leader of the West Coast Avengers, which literally replaced the regular Avengers. So, and he's on the New Avengers. New Avengers, TJ, correct. New Avengers was there. By the way, so was Doctor Strange, became a New Avenger as well, and I would love to use Doc, but I can't.
Welcome to the chat, Reggie Simmons, IFBB Pro.
Reggie, I get these DC guys, they're crushing, but we're having a good time.
Yeah,
I think this is going very well.
Everybody is bashing me for my Hawkman choice. Maybe it was because I heard you say Hawkeye. And I was
subliminal messaging, huh?
Hawkman. Nope, there were some good choices. Mr. Terrific was a good choice. Oliver Queen definitely should have been choice number 1. Hawkman does die a lot, so I guess his immortality kind of screws him a little bit. But are we? So we're
good.
Pass on that one.
We're good.
So should we
Don't forget, it's not we're doing point counterpoint debating.
Yes.
And we're each choosing each category. You guys are the jury at the end of which team would you rather have defend you in case of you could either say a minor catastrophe all the way up to a major catastrophe. I mean, they've all lost, they've all won, but
preferably just our main teams. Because my sucking hard right now. So should we go tech?
Your choice.
I don't want to go tech. I want to go magic.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
And you know what's coming now.
I do know.
Do you? Do you? Are you afraid?
No. I just want to see.
I don't blame you.
We got legs. We got legs.
We got legs in the house, everybody. We got legs. Zatanna is my magical choice for our magic-filled Justice League. When it comes to magic versus magic, Zatanna is quite vulnerable. In fact, I mean, obviously, you just have to make her stop talking or incapacitate her, knock her out, and she's out of the game. But Zatanna has a few things going for her. One, them legs. Two, anything that she says backwards becomes reality, which can be kind of difficult if you're not used to saying things backwards. But Zatanna is a master. She has practiced her entire life. Her father, who was introduced in Action Comics #1, taught her everything. So she grew up saying things backwards and practicing her magic and going on stage and performing in front of people. She's fearless. And her magic abilities, I know someone said Constantine is in there. John Constantine is amazing, but John Constantine does not have the innate powers that Zatanna does.
No, without the Hellblazer aspect and everything else,
Yeah.
Zatanna is much cooler.
Zatanna is far more powerful than Constantine probably ever has been. And so when people say people like Superman is vulnerable to magic, someone like Zatanna could easily shut that down because she is going to be the magic against magic. She is a master of her craft.
Very good. I'm going to pull out my magician. We have cleavage.
I got issues says I had to pull over to type this Thanatos. Hawkman. Okay, guys, he is my reserve tactician. He's only in the game if Batman is not readily available.
So if I put duct tape on her, all she says is right?
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Scarlet Witch.
Oh, so good though. She's so good.
Scarlet Witch, if you ever see the ranking of the most powerful Marvel characters, she has been in almost in the top 10 consistently. And it's not just because of what we've seen in a few brief moments in the films. I mean, in the comics, she takes over everything. She by the way, this is a theme, Vision going down a lot. I mean, it's just one of those things, but Vision's badass and you'll see him later on. But the reason why Scarlet Witch, in my opinion, is the magician that she is, and it's magic, is she's got the technical ability. She can get in your mind. She get in your head. She changes your reality. She is the only one that Doctor Strange feared, and Doctor Strange is a master of the mystic arts, who Doctor Strange at one point said the only reason Doctor Strange wasn't an Avenger was because of Scarlet Witch. Now, she's also the daughter. Like Zatanna has a famous dad. Her daddy is Magneto.
It's a pretty big name drop there.
That's a name drop there. Wanda Maximoff, she is absolutely, and she looks good. She might not have the legs, but she's a little top heavy in this outfit. It's the outfit I haven't seen in the films, and it better come. I want to see that nice little thing in her head. But she it's Scarlet Witch. She runs so many different powers. She got the technology, and she actually has the ability to if you haven't seen in one of the comics in this whole era where Korvac comes into play, and without her, I mean, everybody dies because of Korvac. That's how powerful he is. Scarlet Witch stops some people from dying. She dies herself, but she stops others from dying.
Oh,
by the way, Reggie, you missed it. I talked a little bit of Korvac when I talked about Ultimate Villains.
We got some funny going on in the chat.
Yeah.
I got issue says Zatanna, duct tape, mouth.
Sorry.
Naughty. I have an appreciation for the Scarlet Witch. I don't know much, but I have heard that she is fully capable of changing reality on a whim. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, John's Comics with Kids. I would love to choose Doctor Strange, but it's not Marvel. Doctor Strange didn't show up until 2007, 2008 as an Avenger, and it was a brief moment. He finally joins, but Doctor Strange was a Defender forever, and I would love to have included Defenders, but we're not doing that. Defenders by themselves would probably take out all these teams. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not going to get into the Defenders because Bueller and I are going to work on something about that. So, but there you go.
I love John Constantine. I love him to death. And really, they're kind of a pair. You know, when Zatanna's around, John Constantine tends to show up. But so as a backup,
you might win backup for sure on this.
There's quite a few. I thought about Dr. Fate, but I really don't think, because he started out as more of Justice Society, doesn't count in my mind. Okay. So I am going to go with someone who is also a powerhouse, someone who has the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, the stamina of Atlas. He has the power of Zeus, the courage of Achilles, speed of Mercury, and he is amazing. He is Shazam. He has my pick as the backup magic power. He is. I wish the Great Legend was here. I don't think he's in the chat anymore, but he is a staple in the Justice League. Obviously, in my mind, it's kind of weird because he's supposed to have the wisdom of Solomon, but he's still Billy Batson, which is a downside, because someone mentioned earlier that Shazam has been tricked by Superman before because he's still a kid, even though he has the wisdom of Solomon. Acts like a child, but has all these crazy powers of amazingness. I mean, Shazam doesn't have the magic per se that Zatanna would wield. I think Zatanna is a lot more of a focused magic, whereas Shazam's powers are magic based. But for the most part, he's just fist to fist combat with a side of magic in my mind.
This is where I ran into problems, and I really wish I could have extended it to be on even the current new version of the the Avengers with Doctor Strange. But I did kind of talk to Matty Thanatos and told him I was going to keep it to, because I had a bigger arsenal, I was going to keep it to a time frame. And so I grabbed somebody who doesn't necessarily have magic powers, but his sword does. And he is the master swordsman of all time. And his sword can cut through anything. It's almost like a lightsaber on steroids. The Black Knight. His sword is 100% magic. He has Excalibur. And it turns into a lance. And you have the Pegasus.
Pegasuses are sweet.
Yes. And the one thing about the Black Knight is the Black Knight, he's a Golden Age guy who, but I'm using the Daniel right here, Whitman for it. I'm using this character. He is one of the few that survive many catastrophes that happen to the Avengers. He's a good one. As Shazam changes around, I think Shazam is a great choice. But as far as magic goes, he has some magic power right there. But that is my backup magic. My reserve magician is because he wields a magic sword.
That looks like a lance. Is his lance?
He has a sword and a lance. The sword turns into a lance when he wants it to be.
So Tony Trombetta and TJ are both saying that Shazam used to, back in the day, be a different person, and that was not did not have the Billy brains. But unfortunately, that Shazam probably was not in the Justice League.
Now, we talk about years of wisdom. He has the brains from the 13th century. He knows everything that's happened from the 13th century on. He's actually a pretty cool character. I wish they did more with Black Knight, But he's kind of obscure. I get it.
I got issues as dropping some humor in the chat, man. Did someone say a sword made of absolute magic? That's my bar pickup line.
Did you get home? Or is he just pulled
Are
over?
you home or are you just pulled over on the side of the road somewhere? Seems incredibly dangerous. I think you're up, brother.
I am. Tech, huh? Tech. Well, tech was actually harder than you'd think with the Avengers because there's two main ones. So if you're gonna go with the one tech, where is he? I'm gonna go, and the reason I chose this comic right here is because he saves the day. Tony Stark, Iron Man,
Ooh.
is tech. He is technical. He is everything there is to be there, and he is technical. So I'm going to throw him out there as Tony Stark, Stark Tech. His makes suit. He makes the weapons. He makes the Avengers, the mansion. I know it's not it. There's Avengers Tower, but there was Avengers Mansion. And Tony is my choice. He does drink quite a bit. And we don't have a problem with that, Thanatos. I do not think we do.
Oh,
We will cheers.
cheers.
Cheers. So here's to Demon in a Bottle.
Great.
And he's rich.
Let's not forget that part. So I had a pretty easy choice because I mean the two obvious choices are going to be either have Batman as your tech guy, or you have the guy that can hack Batman and his entire Batman lair, the Batcave, hacked by Cyborg, who I don't have a comic of right now. I thought I forgot that I got rid of my DC Comics Presents 26, so that's, and I didn't rush to find another Cyborg comic. So in lieu of that, I will put this guy back up so everybody can just remember how awesome the Justice League is. So Cyborg, if you don't know, is a cyborg. Victor Stone, most of his body was replaced by mechanical parts, hence the name Cyborg. So he's got the superhuman strength, superhuman speed, stamina, flight. He has his white noise cannon, which is amazing. The white sound little blaster that he wrecks people with. But he is able to communicate with every single form of technology. He can pretty much find anything in any database ever. And it's easy for him. Like Batman is literally like thinks that his entire Batcave is invulnerable to any kind of technological attack. Cyborg proved him wrong. Literally can use every single, like if they're trying to find someone on the planet Earth and Superman can't hear them, Cyborg can find them somewhere on a video camera. Doesn't provide the same support, I think, as Tony Stark financially and maybe technologically. He doesn't give other people technology. But he also has the power of the mother box, which allows him to boom tube, so he can teleport people anywhere he wants, which is a very, very beneficial talent.
Okay. Are we going reserves?
Yeah, go ahead and throw it out there.
Okay, well, you've heard of Stark Tech. I can't go anywhere without saying Pym Tech, Hank Pym himself, Ant-Man. Or, in this case, Giant Man or Goliath. Well, I could have done Giant Man. Let's do Giant Man instead. Either way, let's do Hank Pym. As great as Tony Stark's tech is, Hank Pym doesn't take second fiddle to anybody. I have 1A. I have 1 and 1A in my reserves. I have the two most technical people out there. I also have T'Challa, but that's more of his kingdom. Hank Pym developed the Pym Tech, has the Ant-Man, has Goliath. In addition to that, there was a time that Rich Reed was an Avenger, and that was one of my tough points. How do I not put him in there? And I actually counted how many issues that half the Fantastic Four was in the Avengers, and if it was more than 10, I would have gone with it, and it was 9. But Hank Pym wins. Hank Pym is also an original Avenger, which is I love that. I think it's an important aspect, and with Pym Tech and Stark Tech, it's just going to work. I wanted that technical piece,
No,
and it ended up creating one of my reserves. So
that is a good choice, my friend. If I had to pick a backup for Tech, and someone mentioned it a little early in the chat, I don't remember who it was. It would be Ray Palmer.
Oh, good choice.
The Atom.
I love that. That's actually one of the DC books I read.
Yeah.
Love the Atom. Power of the Atom was so underrated.
And I really think that I'm obviously like him and Hank Pym are fairly similar. You know, they can do the whole, obviously with like different technologies. Ray Palmer using the White Dwarf Star material for his outfit, able to shrink to a Samatepic level, is in my mind the, other than Batman, like the Tony Stark type of the DC universe, and has been a part of. I mean, I always forget that he came out back like shortly after some of our biggest superheroes in the DC universe with Showcase 34. Actually, a book that I might actually add to my 2019 want list. But he is my pick as the reserve.
Very
Mr.
cool.
Gold
and you are right. Hank Pym is flawed as far as his personality, but both my tech guys, one drinks too much and one beat his wife. It's true. It's actually one of the for those that don't know the Avengers, Hank Pym actually becomes Yellow Jacket for a while, and he's a pain in the ass. That's why we say Wasp was good. She could balance a beaten husband and everybody else. Now, how did I miss naming one of my reserves? We didn't do. Did we do science or?
I thought that was Tech.
Oh,
Tech and science were the same.
Hank should have been my reserve, but he was a good choice. That means that one of my reserves is another science guy.
Oh, for your wild cards.
My wild cards, yeah. My wild cards I had to do. I didn't choose 4 tanks. I chose 4 new categories. 4 new criteria that we had. So, what are we up to? Where's my folder?
Tony Sanders asking, where's Booster Gold? He travels time and knows the future. Honestly, I didn't choose Booster Gold because I just never read Booster Gold. I'm not a big fan. Like, everything about him just looks very douchey to me. And I know, I mean, he's an excellent athlete. He can do some crazy stuff, but like, he gained his powers from stealing a museum, like an artifact. Like, meh. I'm not. sorry, Tony, and sorry, Alec. Booster Gold is not my pick. He's kind of a crappy superhero, and he's more part of Justice League International than Justice League. Does not deserve to be on this team right here.
Was that the guy who was the hero that fought Snowflame? Anybody know who Snowflame is?
He's
in DC?
Scott Lang of DC.
Yeah, Scott Lang, by the way, wasn't an Avenger until way late. I know everybody's like, oh, but he was an Avenger in 181. No, Scott Lang joins the Avengers, and he's booted faster than anybody other than Hulk. Spider-Man didn't even make the audition. Made the audition at least twice.
Have you seen the meme? I'm not sure if one of us posted, one of our friends in our community posted it, but it was a picture of like everyone expects this Captain Marvel to be the hero of Avengers 4, but really it's this guy, and it has like from the trailer, it has Scott Lang standing there like, what's going on, guys?
Yeah.
You're like, oh no. Oh, I thought that was super funny.
Okay, so now we've got reserves, right?
We've got the wild cards, not the reserves.
Oh, we got the four wild cards. Okay, so
this is where the good ones are going to be coming in.
Right. This is where you can choose pretty much. So we have our core team. If anybody wants to know, you're asking for this team to defend Earth. Now we're going to do first is which team would you rather have, Maddie's JLA or my Avengers, and then you can mix and match. Who would you choose on each one later? But there are 2 different votes we're going to ask for from the jury, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. The next thing I have to do is get another cocktail. I didn't bring the bottle over with me.
I can
So
talk to the chat while you.
if you want to talk to everybody in the chat. The other thing is, I just want to throw out there. One of the greatest things I read in this chat was I asked about Snowflame. Does anybody know? I just was reading a story about a character that was being developed that was banned today. However, Snowflame was a villain that apparently was his superpower was cocaine. Now I just found out, yeah, is a DC character. You can look him up. I think it's called Snowflame. If anybody knows it, but I actually sat there and because there's a character being written in a book by a local thing here that it didn't pass the comic code because I was like, oh my god, the comic code still exists. And he goes, yeah. And Cullen Bunn said to the guy, you can't even do it. Does anybody know about that guy?
If you go to the DC Wikia, the first quote from Snowflame is, "I am Snowflame. Every cell of my being burns with white hot ecstasy. Cocaine is my god, and I am the human instrument of its will." Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah.
What?
That's his actual thing. And they're trying to, this guy wants to write him in to his story. And they said no. To where Cullen Bunn was actually in the conversation the other day, because he's kind of local to us here, and said they had to redo the cover of Bone Parish 1, that skull cover, because of the Snowflame. There's a clause called the Snowflame clause. It's about not having cocaine in your book. So
his powers are amazing. Gains superpowers upon snorting cocaine. He gains superhuman strength, superhuman speed, immunity to pain, pyrokinesis, and he has something called the cocaine touch, which means touching Snowflame is sufficient enough to give you a contact high. That is absolutely amazing. That is one of the funniest things I have ever heard. I am so happy that JD brought it. My cheeks hurt from that idea. Oh man. So let's be honest, guys. While he's gone, we all know that I'm winning because you know. Oh, JD's back. Never mind. Don't look. Nobody say anything. Shh, 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 shh.
all right, sorry about that. I'm back.
Oh, man. Hey JD. Sorry.
Hey. No, it was kind of funny. Somebody asked one time, why do I have a lot of little airplane bottles? They fit into diaper bags really easily.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, so we just found out, which is kind of crazy. I go to Nebraska. My children are in Nebraska. I visit all the time. I was stationed there for 6 years in the Air Force, and I just got back on Tuesday. I flew back on Tuesday, and JD has been in Omaha, Nebraska this entire time. I don't know if you wanted people to know where you're.
Yeah. For the last 8 years, I've lived in Omaha, and now actually I'm trying to get him to come out in January to take his kids to the museum here, the kids museum here, which is doing a DC versus Marvel day at the museum.
That's amazing. That is the best thing ever.
And I think we have to do it. Now, I was asking my if this was earlier, my wife wanted to join this and say something. She would, because she was going to come down in her Wonder Woman gear, and she is a Marvel, but there's Wonder Woman, and she actually was going to tell you that if you don't have Wonder Woman on your A team, she's not going to even think about it. But we're going to be doing. We're not going to do we're either going to be all Marvel or a family divided, but we're going to do that. And like I said, you come out, visit your kids.
I will definitely.
That's a great weekend.
My schedule, and if it is doable, I will definitely be showing up. I've actually, my first ever Comic-Con, Jason P, was Planet Comic-Con.
I go to Planet Comic-Con all the time.
Kansas City. That was the first one I've ever been to, and I knew nothing about comics. That's where I got my first comic ever. I submitted it to CGC, and it came back qualified because I didn't know about signatures and all that good stuff. But that was the first time I ever met Pat Gleason. I had him sign a Sinestro comic of mine. That's the first time I ever met Neil Adams. I have some really good memories from Planet Comic-Con. And
Yeah, Neil goes every time. It's great.
What comic shop do you go to in Omaha?
I am my Wednesday midday one is Legends.
Legends. I still get their newsletter.
Yeah, they are really good. They have coffee there too. It's
Yeah,
like a Bueller heaven. It's
the
coffee
coffee
and
shop
comics.
added to it, and like the way that their back issues are organized.
Yeah,
That's a
they're
great
good.
shop. Actually, the Iron Lion, the one that I'm at in Colorado Springs here, reminds me a lot of them, minus the coffee shop.
Then Dean at Krypton and I get along real well. Dean's always ticked me because I plucked him pretty good of his back issues one time. Um, just he had a 50% off sale one day, and I saved up for a while,
Oh, nice.
and I went in and he tells everybody the story. I walked in and got a Hulk 181 raw. I paid $400 for it,
Wow.
and it was maybe about 4 years ago. No, more than that. My leg I was in a cast because I had surgery on my leg after playing hockey. So I had it maybe about 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and I had it graded and it came back a 7. It was just one of those situations that I was like, yeah, but I get along with Dean at Krypton Comics, and he had Jason Mewes there the other day, and I was invited to go and talk with there. So I was gonna do that, and I was gonna broadcast live, but Jason was like, "No, I got a show to do tonight, so we'll just get together." Jason Mewes is Jay from Jay and Silent Bob, also a big hockey guy from back east where I was.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool. I do talk to the guys at Dragon's Lair. I have a guy who I work with here in town who goes to Dragon's Lair for me, because if you ever want anything and Legends doesn't have it and Dean's overcharging, he gets it at Dragon's Lair later in the day, and he can get anything like that. Any cover that's like too hot to handle that day, he can find it.
That's
So it's
awesome.
pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are good shops here in Omaha. Well, we should get back to the thing.
Yeah. Sorry, that was so
Yeah.
crazy.
By the way,
That was
Planet Comic Con. If anybody goes to KC, and by the way, Tony Sanders is going to C2E2. I'm going to C2E2. Bueller's going to C2E2. I heard Comic Core is going to C2E2.
the Comic Core has been trying to get me to go to C2E2, but I didn't realize how far it is. But it's a pretty quick flight from Denver, so I will consider it. But that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think a community get together at C2E2 and a live broadcast of, well, who are we going to broadcast to, since we all watch each other?
Yeah,
but
we'll just be watching each other.
Nice.
All right. Cool. So next up, we have our wild card round, which is we have 4 wild cards.
Yep.
Which are characters that don't necessarily fit into any of the roles previously mentioned. Do you want to do, since we're what, like how far are we into this? Oh wow, 77 minutes. That's crazy. Do you want to do a quick recap of, or should we just wait till the very end and do a full recap?
We could just go over. We'll just say, we don't have to pull out the books. We'll just say each one. Okay. I will go through my A team. I guess. Actually, you probably better off going through your A team first, because I need to grab that list of my reserves.
So far, my A team consists of, my leader is John Stewart, Green Lantern. My powerhouse is Superman. My tactician is Batman. Cyborg is my tech guy. And Zatanna is my magic against magic. And I have 4 more spots in the wild cards, and they are going to blow everyone away.
My 4 main are Captain America as my leader, Thor as my powerhouse, Black Panther as my tactician. My tech is Tony Stark, Iron Man. My magic was Scarlet Witch. And now I have to do the reserves, and you can go with the with my reserves. The ones I can't use in the wild card round are Wasp, who is my backup leader, Hercules, who is my backup powerhouse, Hawkeye, who is my backup tactical, Hank Pym, who is my backup tech, and the Black Knight, who is my backup magic.
And my reserves are sad. They consist of Nightwing, Mr. Miracle, who Mr. Miracle is kind of OP, Shazam. Unfortunately, I chose Hawkman as my tactician over guys like Green Arrow. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. And then I forgot who's my last one. Adam, Ray Palmer. Don't worry, Aaron, Ace. That is just an essential oil diffuser to try to clear up these sinuses. It smells like peppermint and I don't know, eucalyptus or something. All right, so let's finish off our A teams with our wild card round.
Okay. So we'll go 1 for 1.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Well, I'll let you go first because
one
of us is gonna have to throw it out.
He's on this cover, but I'll put a more recent cover up. I don't really have much Flash, but my choice for my first wild card is Barry freaking Allen, the speedster himself, the man, the myth, the legend, the greatest Flash, in my opinion. Wally West might be a little faster, but no one has the experience or the awesomeness that Barry Allen has. He is, I mean, his name says it all. He's able to access the Speed Force. He was able to stop, like, he is the reason that guys like Superboy Prime are afraid of speedsters. He is so crazy powerful. I don't know why he said powerful. He's been able to do all kinds of stuff. He's undone the anti-life equation. He can use his speed to generate cyclones. He can shoot electricity. He's amazing. I mean, he's considered a metahuman, which I guess would be like a mutant. But having the ability to go into the Speed Force and change everything is so OP. Yeah, no one screws with time like Barry Allen does. And I don't know, he's obviously a staple of the Justice League, having been there from the beginning. So he is my choice for my very first wild card.
He's fast.
He's very fast.
So's Quicksilver. I went speed with speed. Now, obviously, Superman has a race with Flash. What, 4 times? 3 times that I know of, and I heard a 4th time that happened recently. But when you're going into battle, and somebody who can go in there and give you an assessment of everything first, Barry Allen is Barry Allen, and I'm not going to say the Flash isn't the Flash, but what Quicksilver does in different is that he has always been the scout of the Avengers when he was there. He scouted everything out and reported back. He's also a child of Magneto as well. Once villain there. I know people are saying he was an X-Men. That's a very brief moment. He was an X-Men villain. He was never an X-Men. Quicksilver is Quicksilver. I just, when he threw up Flash, I was just gonna throw up Quicksilver right then and there. It's a race. Choose your. But
who's your favorite speedster?
Yeah, I mean it's those two guys, and what's the movie? What's the movie with the guy?
Is that Avengers 2 where he dies?
This is 75. What? Oh, the movie? Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I know we're not talking about movies, but
yeah, because I could say Martha, and your entire arc is destroyed. So that was
Impulse is a good one. There's a lot of good speedsters.
Yeah, there's another speedster in the Marvel world I was thinking about. Got to go to the Golden Age and grab some Atlas Bullet Head, but that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. Also, on top of being fast, Barry Allen also has the regenerative healing factor. The Speed Force grants him superhuman durability. There's a lot of benefits to having that connection to the Speed Force, like Barry Allen does.
Very cool.
However,
Quicksilver doesn't have. He's never too fast. There's nothing that's not too fast. I mean, he can go as fast as he wants to go.
White Whale brings up a good comic. He has the cosmic treadmill. Barry Allen does, which is his treadmill, which he just jumps on and then travels through time, which is crazy. It's
TJ the Wizard was only sorry. TJ Watson said the Wizard. The Wizard's only in like 4 issues, kind of like Two Gun Kid. So
I don't even know who the Wizard is. So
it's a yellow.
it sounds like a guy that peed everywhere. The Wizard.
Yeah, that's a big joke with him. So
all right.
All right.
Are we? You want to do? Are we doing reserves for these guys?
No, I don't have reserve. I mean, I only chose 4 other ones. 3 other ones. But my next one, the Vision.
Ooh.
Now, the Vision was definitely an android, and the Vision not only has strength, durability, and phasing capability. In other words, he has extreme density or extreme light. He can make himself heavy enough to where he moves a planet out of orbit, or he makes himself light enough that he can float over anything and go through anything. One other thing about the Vision, he's got in the comic only, he has the solar in the solar portion, and he can shoot that out of his head like he did in the movie, and that is enough to where he can actually take anybody down with one shot. Now, he is a child of a villain because he was created by Ultron himself, but Ultron was created by Hank Pym. Again, Hank Pym wasn't the best guy. But I'm also going to throw it out that I absolutely love this cover. But
that is a good cover.
It is so sick. But the Vision himself is a leader as well. He does lead the Avengers at some point. He leads the West Coast Avengers when he goes all gray and everything else. And one other thing is the Vision is one of those that has talked and calmed everybody down. Vision has emotion, but has there's nothing evil about Vision. Vision pretty much doesn't do anything wrong. So
not a bad choice. You pick someone who phases, I will pick someone who phases. I don't have to move my book because my character for my second wild card is John Johns, the Martian Manhunter.
I knew that.
Who is, let's be honest, amazing. He is an OG Justice League member. He has the superhuman strength. He has the durability. He can fly. He can regenerate. He can shapeshift, which is freaking crazy. The intangibility, he can phase. He can go invisible. But one thing that he provides a team is the fact that he can create, which is you can see in the most recent Justice League where they brought him back finally. He's a telepath, and he can create a communication system for the entire Justice League, which provides them an advantage over everybody else. He does have, the fear of fire and stuff, which tends to happen.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I'm not going to get into that. I was going to say, you've got one guy who can't go near a green rock and another guy who can't go near fire.
Nope, but that's why you have everybody else. Superman can just cold wind blow the fire away.
Was John? What was Stewart the one that can't go near wood? The Green Lantern who can't be around wood?
No, that was that was Alan Scott, the original.
Alan Scott, yeah.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah. All your heroes got some kind of weird fucking. Yeah. I'm sorry for swearing. Sorry.
And when Green Lantern came out, the whole yellow immune or the fear of yellow, that was bad. And lots of weird weaknesses for our DC folk.
I should reiterate here. I cannot just choose anybody who ever was an Avenger. I actually kind of had a criteria of 10 issues pre moving to the West Coast Avengers. So I have pretty much up to almost 200 to choose from. So Sentry was not only a Dark Avenger, he was an Avenger. Sentry's a Dark Avenger mostly, was his longest run. I cannot choose a lot of people. I couldn't choose Hulk, Doctor Strange. I mean, there are so many great people who were Avengers that I can't choose. I had to be fair because my arsenal's a lot, babe, a lot
I,
deeper than his.
I feel like all my A team guys.
Oh, and those who think I have no heavy hitter yet has no clue who I have coming.
Oh no.
Mm.
TJ Watson said needs to stay away from the rifleman, probably talking about Alan Scott. Talking about that Rifleman 10 cover.
The Chuck Connors cover, yeah.
That's right. All right. So we are two people deep into our wild card round.
Nice. I led off last time with Buscema's Vision and Buscema's Quicksilver.
George right. So it's my turn, huh?
Yep.
All right. So
one of the two are coming out. Well, both of them are, but
one of the two. What are you talking about? You don't know what I'm picking.
I can guarantee you better choose one of them. I knew she'd be there.
You knew she'd be there. One, Zatanna needs a friend. Girls got to talk. So Wonder Woman provides Zatanna with that female-to-female connection that she really needs. I don't know why I said that, but let's be real. Wonder Woman deserves to be on your A team in any Justice League situation. The super strength, the flight, the magic-based abilities, I suppose, would be her powers. Like there's really nothing more you need to say. It's freaking Wonder Woman. One of the OGs. She's also on. I do miss her old outfit, but this is fairly similar. Yeah. What more do I need to say about Miss Diana Prince other than she is a heavy hitter and she is super durable and she wrecks shop. Trained warrior.
Trained warrior. I like that. When you have a reserve team, you might need a backup leader. You might need a backup tank. You might need a backup everything. Who is the jack of all trades or the Jill of all trades? First appears in Avengers 200 as her first appearance as an Avenger as Miss Marvel, Carol Danvers. Ooh. However, she becomes the leader eventually after Cap. And there she is again. Captain Marvel Carol Danvers. Single-handedly the ultimate powerhouse / leader / she is the true Jill of all trades, or she can do it all. As much as Wonder Woman is Wonder Woman, and I don't know what her weakness is. Maybe it might be something about her. I don't know if she has one. They all rely on two things. One, she is definitely up in there in the Hercules and Thor category as a god, as an Amazonian, but you're talking about Carol Danvers. She is so much more. She is everything we've talked about, with the exception of maybe the money of T'Challa, Bruce Wayne, Tony Stark, and about maybe the science and tech ability of everybody else. But she is tactical, strategical. She's an Air Force person, Matt, so I'm throwing that out there for you.
You like that?
Oh, you like that too. And she is Carol. And Carol Danvers was the leader of the Avengers during the Civil War 2. But her first appearance does qualify as Miss Marvel. And I didn't throw up any. I could have thrown a bunch of good covers up there, but my favorite are the Gene Conway story ones.
That's a good choice. I don't think that Captain Marvel, without binary, can go toe to toe with Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman can go toe to toe with the likes of Superman. She still has Captain Marvel is obviously crazy powerful, but I don't know, Wonder Woman can lasso Miss Captain Marvel, make her tell the truth. I don't know
what she got to lie about.
I don't know how much better that Wonder Woman is than she is.
Okay.
You're stronger than me. That was a good pick. I like that. I like that you waited until I threw out Wonder Woman to pick that.
I did point counterpoint, my man.
Yeah, but Gomez, the comic collector, has a good point. Is she drawn by Michael Turner?
Has Carol ever been drawn by Michael Turner? Yes.
I know. I actually posted it on my Instagram recently. It's a
Yeah.
cover.
Actually, the funny thing is, I got a chance, and I've never shown it, and it's in this Tupperware back here. If you ever see this Tupperware, that's all signed books I've never shown that I've kept in there, and I have the original Civil War signed by everybody who had something to do with it, and I forgot Michael Turner did most of the covers, and he signed every one of those covers.
That's amazing.
And Steve McNiven is there in every one of them, and everybody else. And that was when Civil War I came out, when I was so big into the Civil War. Civil War brought me, everybody has their story, what brought them back into comics. Like you said, Planet Comic-Con, and Reggie was talking about a couple of, what everybody brought back. I never actually left. I left superhero comics and went to these other comics until I was hearing about the Civil War story, and that's where I discovered Michael Turner with Fathom, and then all of a sudden this came out, Civil War, and I went nuts. I went nuts when I heard that story. So
I don't blame you.
So I guess I'm guessing who you have for your last.
It's Snowflake Man, Snowman.
Oh, Snowflake.
Comics Misexplained. I didn't want to pick Dr. Fate, mostly because, one, I can't trust him. If you read Justice League Dark right now, can't trust Dr. Fate because he is not, and one, he's kind of creepy, like not actually, like, I don't know, it's a helmet that takes over your mind. I don't like that. Doesn't seem like a very Justice League-y type of person. And he's more, in my mind, like Justice Society of America. Okay, guys, I get it. Hawkman was a poor choice. Thank you. I regret that decision completely. I was just looking at a list of all the people I had, and that was the first one that stuck out at me. So sad. Mistakes were made. Mistakes were made.
Who goes now, me or you?
It's you. This is our final wild card.
Okay. Well, I would love to choose the Hulk, and but I can't do it. I have to keep it.
Throw him out there. I got a guy that can beat the Hulk.
Unless the Hulk's yellow. So the one I want to put out there, because of this is a team, and I needed a backup science and a backup tech and a backup everything, and I'm just trying to find the cover for it. He was actually an Avenger longer than he was an X-Men, and he is a true leader as well. Where is he? I don't. All right, I'm gonna just grab a random one in the back here. Come on, get on the cover.
We got.
I'm just throwing out a great John Byrne cover right here for a moment.
Ooh, that's a nice cover. I like that.
That is a beautiful, great storyline. This is the issue where they find out who their dad is, and that's spoiler alert. 153. Where are you? Oh, there it is. Come on. Here it is. Okay. Everybody on there I mentioned, we're not talking about that guy. We're talking about this guy, Beast, Hank McCoy.
Ooh.
Hank McCoy was a Avenger for quite a while. He worked with Black Panther very well. And when Wasp was in charge, and her man became, there you go, when her man became Yellow Jacket, Beast was able to calm him down. Beast is super strong, super intelligent, and when they needed more tech, when they wanted to build more, that's why the Avengers have the coolest toys. And let's be honest, we're all collectors of things, so he who has the most toys wins.
Yeah, You know who's got an amazing toy?
A ring.
It's not just any ring. It is the greatest weapon in the universe. And this man's name is Hal Jordan, the greatest Green Lantern of all time. Human Green Lantern. Sinestro is actually the greatest lantern. But let's be real here. If you're going to have a team of people that are going to fight in any situation, and when we talk about wild cards, Hal
Oh,
Jordan,
he's ace in the hole.
he is the ace in the hole of wild cards. This man has zero fear. He will fight anyone, and he will give it his all, no matter what the consequences are, because he doesn't really think it through. He just goes. But this man is capable of literally create. He has so much willpower that he was able to create his own Green Lantern ring from his own will. And he can go like full Green Lantern. It's crazy. Like he just becomes an embodiment of willpower. That's not, no, Tony, I don't think that's true. There've always, right now, there's two Green Lanterns in the Justice League with Jessica Cruz and what's his name? That guy. But you can't have a Justice League without my boy, Hal Jordan, the greatest lantern of all time.
I mean, he's there. He is there, except yellow.
Yellow was an issue. The great thing about Hal
It's
Jordan
a color. It's not an issue. It's a color.
He discovered that there was the flaw, the yellow entity flaw in the green power lantern, the power battery, and it's not just the ability to be fearless. It is the ability to overcome fear. And that is what overcame the yellow issue. Like, yellow is no longer a problem for most.
I do think that Brightest Day and Darkest Night is one of the best things I've ever read. It was just a great little storyline about how Green Lantern was there, and I'm a big fan of, even I'll be honest with you, when I watched the Justice League, not the 73 version when it was only the 4 of them or the 5 of them and Robin, and then the 2 kids and the dog, Wendy and the guy with the dog, but when they added the Wonder Twins with Gleep, Green Lantern was, when he was on, it was always there. You know, I liked him, and I loved Apache Chief. I don't know, those were the 2 I liked the most. I did, I'll be honest with you, I loved Apache Chief. I mean, I always thought it was the coolest thing was, I just thought it was, I just loved that whole Green Lantern. I owned a Showcase 22 way back when. It was not a pretty copy. That is, I mean, this is before grading even existed. And I remember buying it at a grab bag, and it was in there. And this is in the really early 90s, 90, 91 when I got it. And it might have been $20, but it was missing pieces in here and there. But it was one. And somebody said, "Do you know what you have there? You have the first Green Lantern." But I thought the first one was the guy before Hal Jordan, the Golden Age one, you know, whatever his name was. But
good night, White Whale Comics. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah,
it was Alan Scott.
Alan Scott. Yeah, that was the one. I never knew that. So I got a chance to read up on that. And I agree with you that Green Lantern it's not just an ace in a hole. It's the one that you expect in your A team. And again, I don't have an answer to Green Lantern on my reserve, because everybody's like, oh, Beast versus Green Lantern. And that's not the case. It's not Beast versus Green Lantern. This is overall your reserves and everything else, and your wild cards and everything else. And I do think that Hal Jordan is such a tremendous character. Green Lantern is such a tremendous character. And so is Wonder Woman. But I think, you know, it's one of those things. Which team is I'm gonna say it again. My team doesn't have obvious flaws. The yellow, the kryptonite factor. So, I mean, it's one of those things with DC versus Marvel that I'm not going to get into it really quickly, but their superheroes are so huge, overpowerful, and their villains have always been. No offense to any DC fans, but the villains in Marvel are way ahead. I mean, way ahead as far as power goes. I'm not saying popularity because obviously Joker tops them all, but um, the weaknesses of the heroes are obscure to me. But
Yeah.
but everybody in DC is really good guy. Nobody in DC is like a Hank Pym who beats his wife or Tony who's a drunk.
You did have a lot of characters on your team that are more kind of likely to become a bad guy than they are to be a good guy.
That's what makes Marvel Marvel.
Yeah, lots of anti-hero types.
Well, even the bad guys become heroes. Even Thanos was a good guy. The only one who's completely 100% bad in all of Marvel is Carnage. There isn't a good thing about Carnage at all.
So, you want to go over your full team? I don't even want to talk about my reserve team. I just want to talk about like my A team because the A team and the wild cards, those are the best ones.
Well, actually, I thought the reserves are part of it because
Yeah, we can go ahead and so do we have to talk about we have 4 more reserve guys or those?
No, that's all I got. I mean, I'm not going to add anybody new. I mean, my arsenal gets too big after a while, and I kind of stuck it to the first 200 issues. I had to. I kind of had to because it just gets so ridiculous.
Tony was asking why I didn't pick Aquaman.
I didn't pick Namor, and he was an Avenger later on.
And I have to like I love Aquaman. He's obviously crazy powerful, but with the when you had the categories that we had, the leader, the powerhouse, the tactician, the tech, the magic, he didn't beat anyone at those positions. And then in the wild cards, in my mind, the 4 that I picked, the Flash, Martian Manhunter, Hal Jordan, and Wonder Woman,
you win
those guys are all far. I mean, maybe not Hal Jordan in like the power sense, but I think Aquaman would have been just not. I mean, he's only in my mind a Justice League member if those guys aren't there. Sorry, I can't lie about that.
Thomas misexplains. I should say Cletus Cassidy is the worst person in Marvel. Before you even he's even introduced to anybody, there are 27 dead people, and then first time Carnage comes out, there are 13 dead. So my only thing is Cletus Cassidy's the most evil thing in Marvel. Marvel does definitely do something different than DC, where everybody's towing the line, like it is One Bad Day. But I do see that a lot more in Marvel today. But I never see Superman going bad, so to speak, or having a bad day. Like even Thor went pretty bad for a little while. Not as Thor, but
Jordan killed the entire Green Lantern Corps.
yeah. I mean, I'm not getting into Tony did when he was drunk, and
everybody's got a bad day.
Yeah, Hulk was more of a villain in the Avengers or an antagonist in the Avengers than a protagonist, by far. So
in my mind, the reason why I probably wouldn't have picked the Hulk in any of if I had the Avengers was because of the fact that if you're having a battle of any kind, the Hulk could potentially cause more damage than the villain.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love the way Hulk is written now by Al Ewing, and in the comics, Hulk kind of gets tamed after like the 200 and something issue. I kind of think he got tamed, and I'm glad he's back to the way he was. And I think that this is one of those things where I don't think people realize Hulk is a horror character. It was a horror character originally. Before he was green, he was Hulk. He was a horror character. So there.
Yeah.
By the way, one of the people somebody asked me about who, there was a leader I had to pass on that I want to make an honorable mention. he just didn't have enough time, and it was just too late. Dr. Druid probably would have counteracted your Green Lantern, but he's not popular, and he just wasn't. I mean, he was pretty badass though. So
Not gonna lie, I don't even know who that is.
yeah, most people don't know who he is, but he was kind of one of those weird 90s 2000 characters that was just beyond. So, but Dr. Druid was a true leader of everybody. So, I guess we can go over um my first five. If the all right, this is up to the chat. Okay, I guess we'll do the reserves. We'll do the reserves separate. You want to do starting five or
I don't
starting
know why.
six?
I always thought when we went over this, I
Oh,
thought
wild card. We said wild card, right?
I thought the wild cards were part of our
Yeah, we should do wild card part of it. Yeah,
and then the
you're
reserve
right. You're right.
were just the extras.
So a catastrophic moment's about to attack Earth, and the team that I'm giving you is Captain America, Thor, the Black Panther, Iron Man, Scarlet Witch, uh, Beast, Vision, Quicksilver, and did I say Vision?
Yes.
Oh, Captain Marvel, Carol.
Captain Marvel. That was a good pick. I didn't even think about that.
Mm.
You know who I would have thrown in there that I really liked when I first read the Avengers when Jonathan Hickman was writing it.
Oh,
I loved Hyperion.
yeah, Hyperion was a bad guy.
For a while, but in that one, him and
Squadron Sinister. Yeah,
him and Thor had such a cool dynamic. I thought that was amazing.
I did bring out that book when I was showing Carol, the Hickman here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Justin Ponzer.
I like that when they were like, we need to go find some heavy hitters. And
yeah, I mean this is the Wolverine. This is everything. This was when this came out. This was the first Avengers that I actually went nuts for, and I actually took a sabbatical from doing everything so I could try to meet Justin. Everybody who did this book understood me, and this is the series that led into the new Infinity when they brought back Thanos and everything. And this was like they're my favorite moments in comics. Wasn't when I was a kid. I mean, because I remember Secret Wars, but it was so cool back then. But now it's just kind of cool. But this was the coolest thing ever when this came out. The Hickman run on there
it was really
so amazing. Yeah, I agree with you on that. And yeah, the Hyperion was, yeah, but he was one of the bad guys. And when I kind of I kept it to 200, first 200 issues and less.
No, I agree. That was a good idea.
Yeah.
All right. So the Marvel team was strong. The Avengers, that was a good pick. Good team you had there. But I think my Justice League team would definitely be the better choice if a catastrophe event happened. So catastrophe event, everything's going to hell. You need to call a team. And just so happens the Justice League is sitting there in the watchtower and they are ready. And they consist of John Stewart, Superman, Batman, Cyborg, Zatanna, Barry Allen, Martian Manhunter, Hal Jordan, and Wonder Woman. That is your team that is about to go and defend you from any and all attacks.
All right. So 20 people in the chat. Just tell me if you'd rather have the Avengers
Give us
or the Justice League.
Give us a hashtag Team Avengers or hashtag Team Justice League. That's what's going on in my head right now.
Very cool. I'm a big fan. I'm going to just show a little love to your team right here. Put up my Action Comics #1.
Love me some Justice League.
I threw up Justice League in event. I put everybody together.
Oh, are we going to try to create the mega team or maybe?
Oh yeah, we're not done yet.
Okay, let's do it. Oh, Big Will's calling Team Avengers because I didn't pick Plastic Man. He's on my reserve list, I promise. I didn't call him out though, but he was on out of my top 10 reserve guys that I didn't call out. I had Plastic Man, Wally West, Kyle Rayner, and Captain Atom.
Okay, Comics Mix Explained wanted to do to repeat the team. Okay, so once again, for the Marvel team defending the Earth, that's awake at the time because there's no reserves available. It's Captain America leading the team of Thor, Black Panther, Iron Man, Scarlet Witch, Vision, Quicksilver, Captain Marvel, and Hank Pym, which could be, Ant-Man or Goliath. Again, I always look for him as Colossus. So,
all right, I'm going to make a little chart. JL Avengers. We had Jeffrey Comic-Con, Team Avengers. Did he need me to repeat mine? I just go ahead and repeat it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I had Green Lantern, John Stewart, Superman, Batman, Cyborg, Zatanna, Barry Allen, The Flash, Martian Manhunter, Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, and Wonder Woman. All right, let's go back up.
Let's just keep, yeah.
The boy who had 7 said Team Justice League. TJ Watson says Justice League. Jason P says Justice League. Ooh. Oh, Sam's Tangled Web says Team Avengers. Rudy Gonzalez, Team Avengers. 23 Fames, Justice League. I'm a Marvel guy, but I'm sorry. Oh, thanks for the vote. John's Comics. That's 5. Big Will says Team Avengers. Wingnut says JLA Trinity Too Strong. I don't know what I Got Issues team is. Tony Sanders is going Avengers because no Booster Gold, which is garbage. That's such a terrible reason.
If Hulk Nuts would hear, he'd go your way because I didn't choose Hulk.
Tony Trombetta is going Team Justice League. Thank you, Tony.
I think that's the deciding vote right now. Team Justice League. What do you have?
I have 7-5.
I have, so let me go back up. Did I miss one? I have Jeffrey Comic-Con chose Team Avengers. Do you have that?
Yep.
Sam's Tangled Web. Rudy Gonzalez.
Yep.
Tony Sanders. That's what and I Got Issues.
And Big Will. Big Will picked Team Avengers.
So I have 6.
Who did I miss? Either way, 7-6 so far. What's the disaster on Earth? So, Comics Misexplained, this was in any situation, whether it's a tier 1 Catwoman attacks elderly woman, like I don't know.
I was going to say Dr. Manhattan went nuts.
Yeah, or Dr. Manhattan goes crazy.
Because that's kind of like a neutral, I don't know. It's Alan Moore, so I always say if you mention an Alan Moore, I'm going to be like, okay, that's fine.
Let's be real here, though. Dr. Manhattan would murder everybody. Of our teams.
Yeah. Everybody. Just doesn't care.
I just sent a really funny picture, or a cool picture to, I think I sent it to White Whale, but it was Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet playing, why can't I think of it? He was having an arm wrestling match with Dr. Manhattan.
Oh, geez.
And I'm like, dang. Dr. Manhattan all day.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. Thanos in the movies has gotten a lot more, but let's not forget the comics. The man snapped his fingers. The same thing that happened in the movie happened. And then he went farming and gave it up because he got stuck in the friend zone. That's why. It's not because he wanted to not enough mouths to feed. It's because death kept him in the friend zone. He said, I'm out.
You know, Reggie Simmons got me to read that original Infinity Gauntlet with Thanos in it, the Thanos Legacy stuff,
Right.
and it was amazing. I enjoyed it so much. And like at the end, when Death is like terrified of him,
Yep.
that is such a cool part.
Yeah, it is one of those where Infinity Gauntlet with Jim Starlin writing it, like I tell people, the Silver Surfer 34 brought back Thanos to me, which when I was reading Silver Surfer when it came out, I remember buying those books and saying, who the hell is this guy on the cover? I immediately went out and bought as many of about that guy I could. And
Yeah,
I have them all in a box behind the Silver Surfer thing. Here is every Thanos appearance up until Silver Surfer 34. And I was buying him, and literally, I'm not $1 to $2 bins, with the exception of Iron Man 55, was like 15 to $20 because it was the first appearance of Star Fox and Drax. Not
yeah,
They didn't even mention Thanos because he was dead from 1979 on. So it was just great. That's one of the things about comics that you never know. So if there's a character you haven't seen from in a long time or heard from in a long time, like I still am waiting for Dracula to come back.
yeah, that'd be great. Or Blade. I want Blade to come back.
And that's why, yeah, Blade. Dracula is just Dracula. And Tomb of Dracula, he's a villain. He's an anti-hero. He is Vision. I mean, he was Venom before Venom.
Yeah. Nintendo Star Fox. That's a good one, Jeffrey Comic Con. All right, so we are at 7-7 thanks to Comics This Explains vote for Team Avengers. So if you are watching this on the replay and you want to vote, by all means, put it down
By
in
the
the
way,
comments, and we
I'm
will.
going to say I was going to throw Star Fox in there. If this was a team against each other, I would have thrown Star Fox in there because it would have canceled out Zatanna, Wonder Woman in a heartbeat. They're gone because of that. Because you know what the power of Star Fox is? He's got the power. He was originally called Eros, and his biggest power he had was he seduced women. It was so cool.
That's
Look it up.
that is quite the power. I got issues just said Blade is back. Thanatos, last page of Avengers 700. Let's get on it. Netflix, or I guess not Netflix anymore. I hope
Marvel.
Disney, if you are listening, please, dear baby Jesus, make a TV show for Blade.
Feige, do me a favor. Make a Dracula with Blade, and let's do Tomb of Dracula. It was so well written.
Yeah.
Let's do the women. Let's do the Neil Adams first cover. Let's do the everything that happened. Let's do it.
All right. So, do you want to, with the chat's help, decide our master team?
Yeah. Okay. Since we're actually at a tie, which I actually said we'll probably end up in a tie anyway.
Which was good. So we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see what the comments say later in a few days, whether or not
Right.
Team Avengers or Team Justice League wins.
All right. Build your ultimate team, everybody. You have 10 spots, 10 rosters, 10 roster spots. You don't have to choose 5 and 5. Which 10 are you guys going to choose?
Are we giving them our choices, or are they?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure if it's not Marvel characters, so there's no Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Thing, or anybody. By the way, Thing was an Avenger too. So was She-Hulk. I was going to throw She-Hulk in. She was a longtime Avenger. She was actually behind Hercules, and she was going to be one of my reserves. I would have the only cover I would have thrown up would have been her jump roping, but so with the Grandmaster, love the Grandmaster. So I guess if you guys in the chat want to just decide your ultimate teams of between the Justice Leagues we built up and the Avengers we gave you.
I'm sure people are typing right now. Going to town.
By the way, who is the Justice League's biggest villain?
It's got to be Darkseid
As a single character, right?
as a single character.
I guess see everybody says who's Avengers the biggest villain. It's not Thanos. It's he's up there, don't get me wrong, but a lot of it is the teams that they had to go up against. But you know,
You comics misexplained. You can pick whoever you want to be your leader. You don't have to. You don't have to
yeah.
fall into the roles that we
I
post.
chose Cap as a leader. He chose
John Stewart.
yeah, John Stewart.
You could have Superman as your leader. I mean, he's not the smartest tool in the shed, but he's up there.
Yeah.
I do agree, and I actually really like the whole team versus team. Like I know the Justice League has the Legion of Doom, which is a good villain team.
Yeah.
The Crime Syndicate, which is their evil opposites from a different dimension or a different Earth.
One of my issues was like who is the Defenders gave the thing about it. I don't know how DC wrote it, but literally for a year Secret Wars was going on. Defenders versus Avengers was about 10 or 12 8 I think it was 10 to 12 issues between Defenders, Avengers, and their individual storylines. And one of the other great storylines is the Korvac story.
Yeah.
um, it's just how they kind of kept it going. And one of the things is who's the biggest villain the Avengers ever faced, which is why I think the MCU has an arsenal, is that you can go from Thanos to Galactus like that. No snap intended. But,
Yeah.
you know, you really can do that. You can bring the Fantastic Four in because they are a part of it, and you don't have to keep the name Avengers either. You can put the Defenders, and that's all. I know they did the Defenders, the Team 2 after Luke Cage. But by the way, Luke Cage was going to be one of my choices for Avengers. If I could go beyond issue 200, I would have had I could have thrown in Luke Cage in there as a leader, because in the comics, if anybody's read New Avengers or anything else, when Luke Cage took over, he was a badass leader. I mean, he took control when they were arguing amongst themselves. Because you got to remember, there's a lot of egos. Like there has to be in the Justice League. There has to be problems, you get people wanting to do everything else.
Yeah.
Not everybody got along, you know.
It looks like we have some submissions coming in. John's Comics with Kids is saying he would have Superman, Wonder Woman, Vision, Captain America, Hal Jordan, and John Stewart. Just throwing that out there. I love you, John. That's amazing. Thor, Batman, Zatanna, Doctor Strange if allowed, or Shazam.
I would love to do Doctor Strange, and he was an Avenger once, but I just not that many. He was a new Avenger.
He would have helped. He probably would have given you that extra vote. Jeffrey Comic-Con has Thor, Black Panther, Wonder Woman, Iron Man, Superman, Captain America, Captain Marvel, Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, and Hal Jordan. Wow, the pick of
that's a good team.
That is a sick team. The pick of Quicksilver over the Flash kind of scares me, but I'll take it.
There's no limit to Quicksilver. That's just...
no. Rudy Gonzalez has Hal Jordan. I'm seeing a lot of Hal Jordan. I'm really liking this. I guess people watch my channel because they like Green Lantern. Superman, Captain America, Thor, Scarlet Witch, Wonder Woman, Flash, and Iron Man.
That's
Jeffrey
good.
Comic-Con is sad that he can't have Hulk.
I know, Jeffrey. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
Jason P. His leader is Captain America. His powerhouse is Soups. Tech is Iron Man, Tactician, Batman, Magic, Dem Legs, Zatanna. And his wild cards are Flash, Wonder Woman, Hal, and the Martian Manhunter. Oh, wow, those are identical to my wild cards.
4, yeah.
I Got Issues has a very unique team. That is quite the team.
He said Demolition Man, but Gilgamesh is badass. Hey, Gilgamesh is a great character. I love the Gilgamesh. That's such a 90s reference. I love it. I Got Issues. We got to give I Got Issues a round of applause.
The Wonder Twins. Ooh, Blue Beetle is a great choice. I love Blue Beetle. Plastic Man, Stingray, and Gilgamesh, Rage, the super team. That's a
I, I
good one.
I absolutely love it because I get made fun of for being a fan of Paste Pot Pete, and everybody's like, "Oh, you just do it as a joke." I'm like, "No, no, no shit. I love the Trapster, man. I love Paste Pot Pete, but I refer to him as Paste Pot Pete, and um, it's like Gilgamesh is another one of those cool characters to me.
Yeah.
Hell, I thought Taskmaster was great, and he just became cool recently. I mean, people are like, "Oh, he's so boring." I'm like, he's ridiculously good.
Read him now. Big Will has a team of 5. He only needs 5 people to protect the planet Earth. Superman, Plastic Man, Firestorm, that's a good one too. Wonder Woman, and Martian Manhunter. And then we got TJ the Slab Dragon in here.
Oh, TJ, Superman, Hal, Iron Man, Vision, Flash, them legs, Black Panther, John Stewart, Shazam, and Wonder Woman. Good choice.
I like that team, TJ.
I
I've
do
seen a
like
lot,
that team.
a lot of
Actually, I'm going to say this. The one thing you had better than I had was you had, like, if I could choose 2 Thors, I could have choose Eric Masterson, but I
yeah.
didn't. But I'm not gonna. I can't. I can't because Eric Masterson was a not in a. Again, I also kind of am biased, and I stop at 200 because Avengers after 300 get real shitty till you get to like. Sorry for swearing. Till you get to like the mid 400s.
No, you're fine. Big Will added to his original 5. He added his Marvel guys: Wolverine, Captain America, Sentry, Vision, and Wasp.
Now, Wolverine was an X-Men, was a Avenger for sure. It was after the big thing was, yeah, I had to kind of put it in there. I mean, technically, I could have put the Two Gun Kid in. Monica Rambeau was going to be one of my choices. There was a few ones I went through that I was like, I have to keep it minimum to the first 200. They have to at least debut as an Avenger in the first 200. So
Wingnut only needs 3 characters to defend the planet from any threat. It is Wonder Woman, Zatanna, and Carol Danvers.
moist, I like it.
Moist. That is the real Trinity.
That is the Holy Trinity right there. I'm going to throw out there, the sexiest woman in comics is by whoever draws her, except that Zatanna has never looked bad.
That's I can't lie. Brian Boland's covers, they kind of scare me a little bit, but for the most part, Zatanna covers are always banging.
Yeah,
Zatanna always looks good.
Vampirella's always been good. I don't know. I sent out a bunch of guys on Instagram. Lucio Perillo painting the newest
Yeah, I
cover.
saw that. That was amazing.
That was so sick.
I know I sent a ton of people the picture that Art Germ just posted of his new Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Pre-sales for that Captain Marvel on Art Germ's Collectibles is on Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. And you better believe those are going to sell out.
Yeah. I mean, his first one, that main one, the Life of Captain Marvel one, my local shop ran out. All the local shops here in town had them high priced as soon as that day happened. So,
John, Comics with Kids, thank you for staying up past your bedtime. I really
thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much. But it was Thursday.
You are amazing. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Wingnut says Frank Miller did an awful thing of Zatanna. That thing is still on eBay, and it is the ugliest Zatanna I've ever seen. You are not wrong.
Frank Miller.
It's just go on eBay and look up Frank Miller Zatanna. It's a sketch cover he did.
Oh, it's a sketch. Okay, I'm like, I didn't think he ever did that.
Good Lord, it is terrifying.
No, I tell, but here's the thing. For every Zatanna, I'm going to throw out an Elektra. I'm not doing a Marvel vs. DC thing. Elektra is really hot, but when Frank drew Elektra, it was really good. Yeah. I've never seen Elektra bad. Sienkiewicz and everybody else did it. So Elektra's always been my Zatanna as far as, like I've always said, the hottest thing ever in comics has always been Elektra. Red Sonja's up there pretty good too. But It's just real good. I'm looking at this. I like a Mile High is doing a something. I that's good.
Jason P has his own team: Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, Zatanna, Carol Danvers, Thor, Black Panther, Hal Jordan, and Captain America.
I like it. Yeah.
I don't blame you, John's Comics with Kids. I don't. I totally understand the exclusive online book stuff. I believe this is actually the first time that Art Germ is ever going to be selling his very own exclusive. Um, and to be honest, like guys like J. Scott Campbell, um,
Oh, on their websites.
yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like Art Germ is more like he deserves to sell his own artwork on his channel, on his page, because his artwork blows J. Scott Campbell away. Like, and it's not even close.
I've never been that big. I mean, I don't like to blaspheme, and nobody take offense to anybody else's opinion in comics.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've always said, like, obviously, you got. If anybody saw my Buscema thing, I kind of showed the women part of it, and somebody said, "Well, I'm not knocking Michael Turner. I obviously love Michael Turner, but I'm just saying Buscema was drawing hot women for a while too, but the cover work of some of these guys, they're based on it. Now, Art Germ's work is different. It's a different era right now. Um, to me, like Delato wouldn't have been a comic artist 30, 40 years ago. It just wouldn't have happened because look at the comics 30, 40 years ago. Look at them. They were much busier 50 years ago. It's just the way it was. Today it's a single person in a great pose with a great thing. I mean, you show that Zatanna cover, that's very common, but most of the comics of my era that I grew up with were busier and everything else going on, and that's exactly what happened. But what I don't want to ever knock is that I do think that J. Scott Campbell is very talented and he's great in everything else he does. But as far as him doing his own exclusives and that's what it is, he saturated the market with that Spider-Man so much that I saw so many of my friends sit there and shell out so much money for books that they laugh when I'm like, if you want it, it's like on eBay for like $5 right now.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but
Yeah. But we all do it. I mean, look at me. I swore off variants. And then I found out that they're doing a Buscema remastered Silver Surfer variant for this week. I gave Midtown Comics. I know it was going for 200. I gave Midtown Comics $100, and I'm like, yeah, I'll take it.
I 100% bought in on the 1 in 100 variant for Adam Hughes as Captain Marvel.
You also bought every single Green Lantern one, so Grant Morrison, so nobody has any.
Yeah, that's my bad. To be honest, I just got a box today of the 500 one. The foil. I finally caved and bought it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the exact same way. I always say I'm done with variants,
so
and then I saw George Perez doing a Thanos, and I'm like, all right, all right, that's my last one.
Yeah, sometimes you just can't help it.
Yeah.
All right, we are at 2 hours.
Really?
I'm sure it is crazy late for you. You live in Omaha, so you are 1 hour ahead of me.
Yeah, but I've already done a lot of shit for tomorrow morning. For tomorrow morning. Sorry.
But everybody, thank you so much in the chat. Comic Book Gallery came in late. Count Von Strange came in. So thank you guys for showing up.
The replay. It's a good debate. We need your votes.
Yeah, we need your votes. We will do a last second review of our teams.
Yep.
And go and into the comments below when this video kind of posts, and post which team you are, Team Avengers or Team Justice League, and then also post your dream team. Can be from any Avengers, Justice League, whatever you want. Your top 10, what team you want defending your planet. Oh my God, I got issues. You got 2 of them for $15 a piece. And I'm pretty sure the one I got is not a 9.8, which is really frustrating. Anyway, JD, go ahead with your top 10 real quick.
Okay. The leader of my Avengers is going to be, where is Cap? Well, it would have been it's Captain America. My powerhouse is Thor. My magic is Scarlet Witch. My tactical is Black Panther right there. And my tech is Iron Man. My reserves include Hank Pym, Vision. Hang on one second here. Who
Captain
was the other
Marvel.
one? Yep, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, not Marvel, and Hawkeye. Oh
Yep.
no, and Quicksilver. Quicksilver. I apologize. And then my reserves for each one. My backup magic was Black Knight. My backup powerhouse was Hercules. My backup leader was Janet Van Dyne Wasp. My backup tactical was who did I choose for that one? Hank Pym or Beast. Uh, and the that was all we had, the 5 categories. So
Yep. So that was his Avengers team. My Justice League team was leader John Stewart, Green Lantern. My powerhouse was the amazing giant baller Superman. My tactician was Batman. My tech and science was Cyborg. My magician was Zatanna. And then my 4 wildcard reserves were Barry Allen, the Flash, Martian Manhunter, the telepath, Hal Jordan, the unrelenting willpower of the greatest Green Lantern of all time, and our very own beautiful Wonder Woman. And my reserve team, my backup leader was Nightwing. My backup powerhouse was Mr. Miracle. My backup tactician was the unfortunate choice of Hawkman. Um, my tech and science was Adam, Ray Palmer. And my backup magic was Shazam.
and I guess closing argument right now is the reason why I think the Avengers would be the ones that you'd want to stop against anything else was simple. There's no weaknesses in this team other than their morality. They are not the most moral people. My Avengers are definitely not the most moral. Hank and everybody has issues, but I will say that I do appreciate being on the show with Matt, and I think this is a great idea for something going forward on a debate. Doesn't always have to be DC versus Marvel. Everybody, sometimes we can get along. You know.
Yes, sometimes we can. In closing argument for the Justice League, just everybody has their weaknesses. There's a lot of weaknesses with the Justice League, but it's to prove that everybody kind of has their own vulnerabilities. But the strength in the Justice League is the fact that they are able to overcome weaknesses through teamwork. They all come together, they all work together to fight as one unit and defeat any type of villain or circumstance. Even Hawkman has his role. As a reserve guy, he doesn't count as my A team. And with that, I would love to thank you, JD, for being on the show with me. I truly appreciate it. This was a great idea. I can't wait to think of something else that we can do, that we can jump on your channel and talk about.
Okay.
Everybody go. I have JD's YouTube channel link in the description below. His username is JD4256, and his Instagram account is at JD_comic. So go follow him, subscribe to him. He's got some amazing videos. If you look on his wall behind him, he has an amazing collection, absolutely stunning. He's a great guy, and I'm honored to have him on my channel. So thank you, JD. My voice is like slowly dying as we talk.
Thank you very much again. Thank everybody in the chat. I got issues. Jeffrey Comic Con sticking around from the beginning. I love it. Daniel Marshall. What do you have going on? Do you have anything coming up on your channel?
The Boy Who Had Seven and I.
Love it.
We'll be doing, starting in the new year, we are going to be doing a comic book journey through the entire Green Lantern, starting from Jeff Johns' run to current, probably, or at least as much as we can. And that's going to be something that we work on. We haven't really come up with details yet, but that's in the future. I've got some unboxings and stuff coming up, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah, I have a few unboxings. I've got a new show on Monday. I think we're doing it. I'll double check. It's going to be the To Slab or Not to Slab. We're going to show 5 books and ask the people in the crowd, should I get it slabbed or not? And it's pretty much up to us, which is funny because I keep a lot of these black cases here with books that I'm ready to send to CGC, but I'm just waiting for that next box to come back from them first. I don't want to keep more than a certain number of books there. I always say, I'll send out the moderns and I'll send this and then I'll send that. I usually wait for them all to come back and I'm like, okay, then I'll ship out some more. The next after that, on the 21st of December. Oh, no, we already did that one. We have the first no, the 21st of December, we have the holiday edition of The Hunt with on Tony Sanders' channel with Jeffrey Comic-Con and a special guest, the great legend himself.
Ooh, that's
be on that. Yeah. And we got to bring our A game. I mean, I might have won last week by the skin of my teeth, but I have been taking it easy and I've got a few. I've got one coming in that might be really good, but it's going to be really good. So thank you guys very much. Everybody who's in the chat, thank you very much. Anybody who watches us on the outside. And remember, the vote is tied. The live vote is tied. The live vote is 7-7. Okay.
7-7.
7 for the Justice League, 7 for the Avengers. What team do you want to have?
Hashtag Team Justice League, baby.
Like and subscribe to both Maddie Thanatos and myself, JD, and just make sure you comment on there and tell us which one you want. You guys are the deciding vote, and we appreciate your time and your company.
Yes, thank you guys so much. I know a lot of you guys have stuck around for the full 2 hours. That is crazy.
I've never done a show this long in my life.
This is the longest show. Like, you can see my eyes are red because I've been up since like 2 o'clock this morning.
I've worn my glasses the whole time. I usually never do.
I'm impressed.
But I can't see without them over here.
But I had so much fun. I don't know if you still have any booze left, but cheers.
Cheers to you, my friend.
Yep. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy your weekend. Don't forget to go and like and subscribe to JD's channel and leave some comments in the description below for who you choose, Team Avengers or Team Justice League. And you guys all have a great night. Cheers to everybody.
Thank you.
Adios.